everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out, this is the JONR cordless wet dry vacuum cleaner, specifically the model ED12 Pro. JONR is sponsoring today's video, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Right on the front of the retail box we can learn some more about its key features: edge-to-edge cleaning, auto cleaning with hot air drying, and a tangle-free designed roller brush. So let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up we have our user guide and manual, consisting of a full user guide and manual in multiple languages. We also have 15 cleaning tablets to use for the clean water tank. We have our handle, and take a look at the buttons and controls on the handle right here. Cleaning brush, clean water tank. We have our charging base right here, and we have the hot air drying. And last but definitely not least, the rest of our wet dry vac. Now it's time to fill it up and try it out. So we have our power button here. You can press that to turn it on. Currently we're in auto mode, and you can cycle between auto and turbo mode. All right, first cleans out of the way. Let's take a look at the real world results. We'll start with the dirty water tank. We'll remove that. We'll look here at the filter. We do have some hair starting to accumulate there, so make sure you wash and rinse that as needed. Same with our mesh screen on the inside there. We're starting to see some debris collected, so the filter's doing its job. Same with inside, some pet hair, a couple of Christmas tree needles there. And then we can just gently pull the lid out to reveal more pet hair needles, some crumbs from around my house. Just kind of get all that off of there. You'd want to rinse this out. Take a look at everything starting to collect there around the seal. So just give that a good rinse when you're emptying the tank. And then we got our pet hair, our floaters, some debris on the sides. We'll dump that dirty water out to give you a better feel for what this is vacuuming up and mopping up around your house. A lot more contents down in the bottom there. And then you can see our disgustingly dirty water here with a lot of Christmas tree trimmings floating around in there. Moving along, I thought we'd look at the brush roller. So up at the top, just typical hair and dust starting to accumulate. We can pop open the cover. And same thing, we have some hair on the inside of the cover, so make sure that you're wiping that down or rinsing this off every once in a while as well. And then that brush roller, nice and dry, and it looks very, very clean. Here's a close-up of the brush roller from all sides and angles. As you can tell, it looks brand new still, really clean, no discoloration or staining or anything visible so far. And then looking at a close-up of where the brush roller installs, everything looks good so far, just some hair starting to accumulate, so make sure every once in a while you're keeping an eye on this as well too, to wipe down and detangle as needed. let's see how this wet dry vac stacks up against the competition. We've tested over 20 different wet dry vacs, so we'll look at that data to get a better feel for the value of this particular wet dry vac compared to the competition. First, we'll talk about cost. This will be the lens to look at everything through. You'll notice that we're a couple $100 less than your average wet dry vac. So going forward, we should have below average features and performance, but let's see if that's the case. First up is decibels. This is how loud the wet dry vac is. We peaked at 81 decibels. The average is 77, but I would say that you wouldn't notice much of a difference. This really isn't any louder or obviously quieter than your typical average wet dry vac. Next is in-use airflow. This is measured in FPMs. For this result, the higher the better. We are about 70 FPMs below average. Same thing for in-use suction. This is measured in kPAs. We're about 0.55 kPAs below average. And that theme continues with rated power measured in watts. We're about 100 watts below average. Battery life follows the same pattern here. We're about 6 minutes below average in regards to runtime, but again, you got to factor in how much are you paying for these features, and we're still pretty close to that average. But some good news here, we have a extra large clean water tank, 850 milliliters compared to the competition, which only has a 780 milliliter tank. That means that you're going to make less refills to your sink. Dirty water tank, on the other hand, is going to be below average by about 200 milliliters, just a little bit shy of 200 milliliters less than the competition, so that means you'll be emptying it more frequently. In regards to self-cleaning, an essential feature in my opinion, this is equipped with self-cleaning. Just about every wet dry vac that we tested is, 96% of them. It's a feature that I wouldn't buy one without. Rather shocking is the fact that this has hot water self-cleaning. We've never seen a wet dry vac this affordable offer this feature. They advertise 158 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually above average. And same thing, premium feature is hot air drying. This is equipped with hot air drying. It uses that heating element at the bottom and then just rotates the brush every couple of minutes to dry it rather quickly. They advertise 167 degrees Fahrenheit. It's substantially above average. And to continue on with overachieving, in my opinion, this has dual-sided edge cleaning. Usually for a wet dry vac like this, you'd be lucky to get one side, but again, they give us both with this design, which is really a nice touch to get up close and personal to edges and corners and baseboards on both sides of your vacuum. And last but not least, smart controls. There's no smart controls or capabilities with this wet dry vac. We're seeing that in about almost half of the wet dry vacs that we've tested, but it's not an essential feature by any means. In my opinion, you wouldn't really be spending much time in the app anyways, and I'd rather save more money than have smart capabilities. So let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. Let's talk about the good first. It's very light. It's on the lighter side. For those that's a concern for you, you'll appreciate how lightweight this particular model is. Still gets decent runtime, and it does offer some premium features like hot water washing and hot air drying. And it also still has an auto mode. There's an auto and max mode, which is great. You can pick and choose between the two. But with all that being said, there are some things I'd want to see improved with this in the future. There's the auto and the max mode, but there's no suction only mode. Also, it's really difficult to tell when the battery is low. The icon indicator will turn red, but there's no percentage or anything like that. And it's not the easiest to see while you're cleaning around the house. Also, even with it still blue, I guess it was close enough that when I put it back on the charging station, it wouldn't initiate the self-clean because the battery was still too low. So I don't like the fact that I can put this on the charger and we can't initiate self-clean until after it's charged back up to a certain point to allow us to try that again. And then lastly, I'm spoiled from using some of the high-end flagship models, but having the 180-degree lie flat reach is a real game changer on these units. I felt a little limited to the lack of mobility with how far back this unit goes. I found myself wanting to tip it down further, and then it just pops the whole unit up. That's just me being spoiled with using top-end models. We didn't pay for that feature with this vacuum, so it's not expected. That's just something I have to check from my own biases since I've covered quite a few of these wet dry vacs.